Today's video may seem a little left field, but it's super important for those that are moving from urban areas to rural areas. So today we are going to cover how to safely drive dirt roads and narrow old highways. And honestly, this information may save your life or someone else's. Moving to southern Missouri is the best thing I've ever done for my family. So where I grew up in Northern California, people drove like this, and like this, and like this. And no, today we're not going to cover how to roost and fan around corners, but what we are going to cover is actually some of the dynamics of control that do get learned through that type of driving. And just as a little disclaimer, I do not, although I'm talking about like crazy performance off-roading, I don't condone that on public roads. And it was actually really scary as a young driver, like knowing that at any minute around the corner, like someone might be driving a berm or jumping or just completely fanning around the corner. That was really scary to learn how to drive in that community. But I have to say, it definitely made me a lot more courageous in an off-road situation. And as the young people say, I'm not throwing any shade, which I don't understand that because I personally would rather be in the shade than the sun, but whatever. I'm not throwing shade at people who are uncomfortable with off-road driving. It's actually super important to get these pointers that often people don't talk about, especially people who just naturally have been driving on dirt roads. But when I drove in the city for the first time, I cried. I had just gotten a stick shift and I was in San Francisco, California. And if any of you know, there's hills that are so steep and I was rolling back, almost hitting the driver behind me, burning out a clutch, bawling. So no disrespect, urban drivers are amazing too. And that was something that I had to get comfortable with. Before we dig into the pointers, I just want to say, the dirt roads here are gorgeous, okay? A dirt road around here might look something like this, and a dirt road where I grew up probably looked more like this. So when people talk about a bad dirt road around here, I almost don't even believe them when I hear it, because it's like it has like 3 potholes, maybe a little washboard, but you don't even see as much washboard, which I probably should explain what that is. Picture an old-fashioned washboard with all of the little rivets in it, and the dirt roads get like that primarily from braking. So you'll see it a lot, especially on hills and corners, because that stutter braking will actually create those little rivets in the road. They're extremely hard on your car. I highly recommend slowing for them, just for in general your suspension, but also once you drive a lot of washboard roads, it feels like your car's gonna fall apart, like all the screws are loose. And I think why we don't see washboard around here as much as what I'm used to is just because of the lower elevation, and so many of the dirt roads are like just gorgeous, flat, like 2-lane, almost like if you had a dirt road and it married a highway. Like I think they're beautiful. But yeah, so I'm used to roads that are really bad, and most of the roads are pretty good here. I have experienced a few crazy bad dirt roads. People who aren't really thinking about how to design a road, and they did need to put in switchbacks and they didn't. It was just a straight drive up. But mostly A+ for dirt roads. The most important point number 1, is do not cut blind corners. Take them wide. If you're on an old highway, stay in your lane. Don't even bring a tire over. And if you're on a dirt road, I know that's hard to assess. I totally get it, especially if you're on a dirt road. Okay, so it feels narrow. When you're not used to it, it doesn't even seem possible that 2 lanes are there. And that, I think, is the first kind of conceptual thing, is like having faith and seeing where two cars can actually fit on a dirt road, and when you actually need to pull over. But I can assure you, the most dangerous thing that you can do is start to come into the inside of that corner on a blind corner, because someone who knows that road and they think that you know that road and you know to take that corner wide and they're late for work, they might be going even 30 miles per hour on a dirt road is going to feel like quite a collision. And I think probably the number one reason that people start to cut in to that corner is kind of fear of that edge. And then also, if you're not used to driving on gravel, you can feel that you have this incredibly, like, I don't even know the word to say. It's like, it's not bad traction. I mean, I guess it is bad traction. It's constantly changing traction. Once you get comfortable with it, it's actually kind of fun. Okay, it is. But starting out, you're probably not going to be fanning safely around corners, and I highly don't recommend that you do. I'm joking. Don't fan around any corners unless it's your own private road and you know no one's there. Actually, in all serious though, I have had multiple friends die from taking corners blind, you know? So really, 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 folks, stay on your side. And I actually saw it today on the way to church. I saw someone who clearly was not comfortable on the curvy roads. We were on a paved road. It was an old highway, so two narrow lanes, very curvy switchbacks. You just can, not only are they driving slow, but just like the way they're driving, the way they're braking, you can tell they're uncomfortable. And they're going slow to be safe. And I can appreciate that. I'm not even gonna get mad. I'll hang out behind you, won't get on your tail or anything, right? I want you to feel safe on the road. But what was killing me was this driver was driving super slow and cutting in to the other lane on those blind corners. Someone else, really, like for those of us that know those roads well and are comfortable with those dynamics, we're gonna be driving, 50 to 65. I've driven a little faster. They're highways, and when you're comfortable with curves, you can drive pretty fast. So the speed limit is 55, but even if you're trying to be safe and you're driving 40, 35, actually through a lot of it, this person was, and you still have that head on with someone going even just 55, it could be fatal. So you have to see, it is the most important thing. And I say this with great experience of seeing so many people die that did not obey that rule. So stay on your side. The second tip is kind of like that little mini tip I've already given about driving slow on washboard, because it will destroy your suspension and also just your whole car pretty much. But the next one in that respect that I see a lot of people kind of not knowing how to interact, at least on the dirt road sometimes, is potholes. So you see a lot of drivers just going for it and almost trying to hit them. So whether you're on a paved road or a dirt road, don't hit the potholes at full speed. Here's what I recommend. Remember, rule number one is stay on your own side no matter what. Even if it's a deer, take the deer down, right? Don't go on the other side on that blind corner. But let's say that you have a pothole in a corner and you're kind of like making that decision, just super slow down, try to straddle that pothole. Another thing too, like if you have like a low car, you actually can come into the pothole if you have no other choice, turn your wheel so you're coming down, dipping into it, and then turn out of it, and then you'll notice that you're doing this movement and it's just a lot smoother. So, and there's people that I love dearly that drive like this, where I feel like they're aiming full speed at the potholes, totally unaware. And I think that is a bit of an urban driving thing. And this person that I'm thinking of is actually more comfortable driving in urban settings than I am. And so it's interesting. I think that there's different skill sets that are really developed with urban driving and off-road or dirt road driving. And I really respect those of you out there that have like mastered both. So this third tip was a bigger deal where I came from, because honestly there was so much road rage, and like the only way I can describe it is it was all this like really insane, like high octane performance driving with a lot of drivers that were like inebriated, like alcohol, marijuana, and drugs were probably involved. But like where I came from, if someone wanted to like rally and they were behind you and you didn't, you would be building and building this tension. Like you could feel it. It was insane. And like they would literally like fan around you, like crazy stuff that I've never seen anywhere else in the world. Okay, so this is Northern California in like the rural areas, and this is how people drive there. So be aware if you want to like go look at the redwoods, like just drive safe, because the people there are crazy. So yeah, here it's not like that. But what I would say is that have respect for the fact that there's a lot of locals who are working multiple jobs, trying to get their kids to school and working full time. And so many people have come here and they're on a different time clock, just like some of the other locals are too. Like, I mean, I think this doesn't have to be a local versus not local. This is kind of like a, are you retired or on vacation versus are you like hustling 7 days a week to keep your family going? If you want to drive super slow and kind of do a scenic thing, pay attention if there's people behind you that probably are late for work or something really important. Now, I recognize here there are so few pull-offs. Like that's one thing I actually really appreciated, and I think I figured out why. So I want you to listen to my theory. But where I came from on dirt roads, like every several hundred yards almost, there'd be like a pull-off, so you could safely pull off, so the irate, crazy performance driver could blast by you, and you felt much safer, and you could, keep them not in a road rage state. Here, there's these huge drop-offs, and I truly believe that all of those deep, like gullies, I don't know a good word to use, is because we have so much rainfall here that like you can't have a bunch of places that are going to disrupt that flow of water down the sides of the road. So if you notice, it actually this is actually one dynamic that does make it feel a little bit dangerous around here, especially when someone else is driving on your side of the road. I've had it happen numerous times with logging trucks and dump trucks here. Those are actually the craziest driving experiences I've had. Like there's none of the insane drunk performance drivers that I dealt with in California, but here, especially if you're driving like 6 a.m. super early, crazy truck and loggers, like really fast. Also sometimes semis, doing like crazy hauls, moving cattle, things like that. And then dump trucks, really fast in my side of the road, getting pushed off on a road where there's nowhere to go. It's like these, pretty deep like drainages that you can't like safely get off on, and that definitely is something to be aware of. And honestly, you just get to know your roads. So I was driving Highway 76 it was just every morning in between like Van Zant and Willow Springs. The loggers drive super fast in the morning, and there was one guy that was like it was dangerous. So if you're listening to me, slow down, mister, stay on your side of the road, especially on those corners. There was a few times I felt like I might turn around and come get you. Otherwise, everyone drives super safe around here, for the most part. But I have seen people who I know who are really good drivers, locals, and we've all done it. I've done it, where you just have that minute where you make a bad decision and you get over on that other lane. So we all have done it, and we all need to improve. Okay, because it's number one most dangerous thing. So I'm going to reiterate. The third point is recognize when you're going slow, and please try to get over for the driver and back. Not because you're going to experience road rage around here, like people are so kind, but mostly because it just makes people less annoyed, and like you don't want that. I don't want to like create friction between people, and understanding that their world might be really stressful and they're trying to just keep so much going. And I really like that people drive really reasonably around here. Although I have a weird nostalgic thing with certain aspects of like the driving styles that I was raised with, so much of it was suicidal or murderous. It was so dangerous. But I do like that skill set. So here's what I think. I think that there is a time and a place for performance driving, and it belongs on a track, you know, or completely private road, you know, nobody, no, you're not going to endanger anyone but your own stupid self on that road. But I actually think it can make people better drivers. So I'm not kidding you. I looked it up. There's like this like off-roading, like Daytona 500 like driving school, and I really want my 14-year-old daughter to go there when she's 16, and I want our whole family to go there. I want my husband and I to go there, and just want to be super fun. Okay, so there's that. But really does improve driving skill when you understand traction, because when you understand how to systematically lose traction like precisely and then regain traction, I truly believe it makes you a safer driver. And no, I don't want to bring like insane off-roading culture to Missouri where the side of every road will look like this, and you will see every piece of grass torn up like this. The funny thing, when I was researching for this video, just, you know, trying to find like some stock pictures and whatnot, like I couldn't find any of like berms on the roads for cars. So let me just describe it. So I'm going to show you a picture of a berm for a mountain biking course right here where I came from. It was every corner, like pretty much every corner had a berm for cars. So, you know, everyone loved like cars that pretty much could be like Daytona 500. So like small Subarus, Supras were probably like the car of choice. Actually, old Celicas. Yeah, those cars are pretty fun on a dirt road, but no joke, there would be berms on every corner. And so when I said like as a young, you know, like I've got my like driving permit and I'm driving with my super stressed out mom, like you literally would be driving, you know, I knew to take my corners wide and to hug them on the other side. And there'd be someone just fanning, coming around the corner, taking a berm. And so you just have to like be kind of just incredibly brave, and you'd get used to like almost like it was Daytona. Like I wouldn't be driving Daytona 500, but it felt like that energy every day, like driving to town. If Missouri ever did have that culture, it would probably look more like this. But honestly, you really won't experience too much dangerous driving here, except for those early morning logging trucks. And I want you guys to come here and help us keep those roads safe. And I think a big misconception is that if you're driving slow, you're driving safe. Y'all, that ain't true, okay? So definitely what I'd like this to do is just next time you're on the road, just bring a new level of awareness, and I promise to do the same. I bet if we all did that, we'd like save, you know, how many lives every year. I mean, I'm sure it's crazy, as I imagine hundreds of thousands of people die in car wrecks, but yeah, so let's keep it safe here and yeah, not make our neighbors mad. I think that's another good goal. Okay, you guys, this was my crazy off-roading video. Thank you for sticking around. As always, all my information is in the description. Go ahead and reach out to me. Phone, Zoom, email, text, smoke signals, right? And let me know what your real estate needs are, and I will start researching for you. Have a good day, you guys. Bye.